Welcome everyone to Racing Revolution. Huge shout out to Chapman Environmental Services and Butt Kicker for supporting this league. This is 10-4 Broadcasting, sponsored by Admin Box. Once again, Patrick Morrison in the booth and Kynan Jones, who is researching deals on those Butt Kicker systems. Exciting night tonight for the season finale for the Racing Revolution League held here at Phoenix Raceway. Opened in 1964, this 1-mile Phoenix Raceway was originally built for open-wheeled racing. This track originally hosted 40 years of Indy races, and beginning in 1988 brought the first NASCAR Cup Series to this track. This is one of the most unique ovals in America. Phoenix is known for the open dogleg concept. The reconfiguration of pit road, grandstand relocation, and the start-finish line change has puzzled drivers since 2018. So, Kynan, man, talk to me about this dogleg.
It's going to be very interesting just seeing where drivers decide, okay, how far down do I want to go? How much do I want to cut it? But if you go and try cutting it as much as possible, you're not going to be able to use the banking on the back straight, which is going to be able to help carry the speed. So even though you're cutting off a lot of time, it's still fairly balanced with just how the drafting is and with how the banking is. So drivers are going to have to really think where they feel most comfortable, but you've also got to think about the cars around you. So if you decide cut it, then you've got to be very careful when coming back up and trying to make turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, and also things to think about tonight. Let's go over the track rules and the conditions for tonight. We're running 120 laps here tonight. Competition caution will be at 40. If a caution ends up close to or before that, that will already go ahead as the competition caution. As always, Racing Revolution does no fast repairs unless on super speedways, and we're here at a 93-degree track temp with 5 sets of tires. Super excited about that, so it should be good and tacky for these drivers up here. Going through the first top 10, James Loveland goes ahead and takes the pole for tonight. So that that 02 car, super fast tonight. Ted Reckich starting on the outside line. Robert Rader actually got dialed back there to the 3rd position. Not very fast for him on the track here tonight so far. His buddy Kevin Orlando there on the outside. Trevor Earhart, 13. Nick Alves in the 24 machine here. Man, a lot of your top drivers here kind of up in the front. Parker Johnson, 48. Brandon Richardson in the 29. Travis Gilbert in the 341 there. Kind of waiting for him to load in and get ready and set for this track here. Grant Thorpe going ahead and lining up, rounding out our top 10. So really, we'll see how we get lined up for this one. Albert Likens, Tay McDonald, Blake Cook, Michael Bennett there in the 14 machine. So we're starting to see these guys clumping up here in the back. Hopefully no trouble out of any of these guys. We do see Caleb Gilbert does kind of start in the back, but works his way toward the front in the 40 car. 83 of Adam Bowden there. Looks like Daryl Johnson in the 8th. David Stanfield maybe kind of taking an easy shot for this run here tonight in the back, and we'll see if Scott Negus made it here in that 39 machine, and he did. He decided not to qualify here and go ahead and take that back seat here, kind of. Really, is it a good idea here at Phoenix to really get yourself set? Is it best to start up front or kind of hang in the back and see, if you can get through this?
It's always best to be up front. It's going to be typically the safest spot, but if you know you don't have the pace set in, sometimes it's best just to go right to the back and stay away from the mid-pack where it's going to be the biggest amount of danger.
All right, well, super crazy track here tonight. You will see some dust come off these cars riding that low line, but you're going to also see the start-finish line is actually going to be between 1 and 2 here. So we're going through turn 1, and there's the start-finish line. So this is going to be definitely very odd for some drivers, kind of seeing how whether to take it, how, kind of the angle that they go. Pace car lights are off, so we will be green next time around. It's kind of weird here, kind of, to see how these guys run. You'll see up on the walls, you'll kind of see where the turns are and things of that sort. But what I'm really interested in is seeing how they cut that dog leg. They kind of drop off the track and slice that thing in half, trying to get as much speed as they can. They do say, the officials say it's no gain, but I've seen other races in other leagues, and even in real time, you will pick up almost a tenth going ahead and taking that low line, so it does seem quite favorable.
Yeah, it's really just how comfortable you are running down there. It can gain you some time, but it can also equally lose you just as much time if you're not careful with how you redress back up onto the track. But we come and take the green flag for the final time in Season 1 of Racing Revolution.
Man, really, what an amazing race this is going to be, and we are going to see him slice. We're going to move quickly to that chopper view here and kind of get spread out a little bit as Robert Rader goes ahead and makes a quick move, getting his way into the lead already on the first lap. Right now, you are seeing the 1 and 2 in the point standings right now. Robert Rader has this thing all but sealed until the end of the race. Loveland in second on the points race as well, and right now that is how they're racing here at Phoenix Raceway.
Yeah, right now keeping it nice and steady throughout the entire field. But it's nice to see the main championship protagonists fighting it out on the early stages of this race. But we'll see when Loveland really, if he's able to make a proper charge and get back up to the lead, or if he just decides to drop back. Currently staying side by side with Robert Rader, as we've often seen throughout the entire series, but Rader getting a little bit loose on the low line and had to come up and did tag the wall. That has allowed Loveland to be able to get back below him.
Yeah, that is going to give Robert Rader not a very favorable line. We had a little chat with him earlier. He did say he will be kind of hovering around that low end, being able to make that cut. He loves the cut, you know, and really it's going to kind of really switch it up for him if he ends up caught on the outside of any of these turns, really not where he wants to be. But we still got a lot of racing left to go here, man. We look at that. We're already 4 laps in so far. So, I mean, these guys are getting around the track here pretty fast, under 30 seconds a lap. So, Kynan, we are, you know, you can't really blink too fast, you know, or a whole lot here, or you're going to miss something.
Yeah, with it being a short track and considered that, and with how much you're now able to cut the course, even though some say it doesn't really gain you much time, but then others say it does. You get by these laps very quickly, so you've always got to be on the toes. But once we start getting a bit more strung out, then the danger of getting a caution and making it all group back up together will be then limited.
Yeah, Robert Rader looks like he's going ahead and kind of just taking his time. Looks like he's going to have a battle on his hands. We'll rotate back here to Parker Johnson here, having to kind of fight a little bit. I believe there with the 341. I believe that's Travis Gilbert there in that machine. These two Fords right here are having a heck of a time battling out. Wow, look at that. See, I moved right there. That should have been Nick Alves there in that 24. Really jerking around on that track. Little dangerous here so far.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful with that. It can be very easy to unsettle these Xfinity cars, especially fairly early on in the stint. We're only 6 laps in, so the tires should be fairly up to temperature, so you're able to be a lot more aggressive than you would be. But got to be careful with that, especially with how much it can potentially wear the tires.
Yeah, but we are taking a look here at Nick Alves there in the 24 machine. You do see that move is kind of getting him some speed right there. I think the only thing that's really going to help him get pushed around the track and get a little more kind of push on that cut he is making is trying to ride that draft just a little bit longer and then dive off the table there and try to make another move. But really, we're seeing this field kind of spread out a good bit. There we go, as we get a good angle of the cut that these guys are taking, you know, taking a real interesting move there. Some of these guys are getting loose off of 4 here, Kynan, so they got to be careful when they're diving onto that cut off the track if they're going to get loose and end up sliding up in the wall.
Luckily, this track has plenty of runoff, so if something does happen in front of someone and there's suddenly a big wreck, you do have area that you can dive off, or you can also keep to the typical speedway and be able to use the wall if needed to help keep the car steady. But you got to be careful when trying to be aggressive and cut it down onto the apron, as we've seen drivers already getting loose out of 4. So just need to be careful, but these drivers know what they're doing, as we've clearly seen.
Yeah, it looks like Travis Gilbert is trying to make a quick move here on that 48 machine of Parker Johnson, but really you just see that battle kind of swaying back and forth. Parker Johnson not able to get a good line there, and whoa, man. And that's kind of what you're going to see is these guys kind of pinch right before turn 1 there and try to line this thing up. Man, this is starting to get real tight. These 3 right here, right now, are the battle of the race so far. These guys really giving it a good squeeze, but man, I kind of want to rotate up there to Robert Rader. I think he's up there giving this thing another shot, seeing if he can give Loveland kind of the pass through here. These guys super fast on the track. Robert Rader has the fastest lap so far here, kind of a 27.764. So really got a lot of speed to him. About let's say 50 thousandths of a second faster than James Loveland there. And I'm just wondering, with the amount of separation that these guys have from the rest of the field, what are we looking forward to here in the future?
It's going to be a good battle throughout the entire race, as long as nothing too bad happens. These two have been really the class of the field throughout the entire season, so not too surprised to see them up here, but with how much they've managed to break away and with battling, excellent work by them, and to still be able to keep it all clean at the same time.
Yeah, and as you're saying that, man, you're talking about breaking away. Robert Rader and James Loveland have broken away by 2 seconds off Ted Rekich, who's back here in that 00 car. Here he's there. So, man, you just see the amount of distance they have to go to get caught up. And it's just so much and so far to go. But, let's rotate. Let's see Richardson. Let's see how he's doing. Back there with Caleb Gilbert. It seems Caleb is fighting a little bit in that 40 machine to get that thing around the track here. He has moved up 3 positions from where he started. Interesting to see, where he may end up tonight. I know he's got him a race in the bag, I believe, and where these guys can get going. I know some of these guys here, Kynan, like Scott Negus here in the 39. He's moved up from the last place there. He's moved up 5 positions into the 14th. So good to see his 39 Ford doing some great work there. But man, they're just battles all over the track and really kind of picking which one to choose. I would say anything, it's still this Nick Alves and Grant Thorpe here. These two guys getting ready to try to give it a push. 4 cars in a bunch here. I'm interested to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, it just seems like no one can really pull away too much. Travis Gilbert in the 341 was able to pull away earlier, but then has ended up getting into a battle with Kevin Orlando. So you try find a way to break away, but then you're suddenly trapped in someone else's battle. So Thorpe being able to make a bit of a run on the low line is going to clear Alves, but so Alves going to try fight it back, not cutting the dog leg as much, closing up a bit under braking, but Earhart in the 13 behind Alves, closing up with a bit of damage on his right side, but doesn't seem to be hindering it too much.
And the battle out here so far, 16 laps in the bag so far, and really this is starting to heat up for some of these drivers. The tires are starting to wear in pretty well, and starting to, really starting to get a good feel for this track. The track's starting to warm up. The tires are getting tacky, so now's the time to really get driving on this thing. Really great, and so, what's going through my mind right now is these sponsorships, and I'd like to give a shout out there for Chapman Environmental Services, proudly offering broad spectrum regulatory compliance, permitting, field sampling, services, and more. Visit ChapmanES.com. Man, and really, you got to be thanking Chapman for sponsoring this league and allowing us to broadcast this to you guys here at 10-4 Broadcasting. And really, what a fantastic year this has been, but it is not over yet. We aren't even a tenth into the finale of this season here as we get taking a look here at Grant Thorpe. I can't pull off this pile here. These guys seem to be going around a heck of a time. I know Robert Rader may give me an earful, but he has gone ahead and taken the lead from Loveland, and I'm sure he is not, getting away unscathed as Loveland, I'm sure, is going to try to make another move on him here, kind of.
Yeah, Loveland looking to the inside, Robert Rader running a little bit higher up, is going to be able to get the run out of turn 2 and going to be able to capitalize down the back straightaway, but Loveland not wanting Rader to really pull away too much, but it's going to be interesting to see how the tires start coming into effect as the run starts to develop.
Yeah, now what I would probably think is Loveland starting to see him falling off here a little bit. You do hear the tires scrubbing here a little bit. Now, I'm wondering if Loveland has maybe smoked those tires early in the race, trying to stay away from Robert Rader, who's really had some fast times here tonight and is still holding the fastest speed of the race. Out there in the chat, Sean Lattin, you were not supposed to spoil that. That was going to be later on in the race, but we will see. We'll see how Loveland places tonight. as we get going around here, as we're taking a ride here with James Loveland of the 02 machine. These two Fords up here in the front, a lot of speed out of these guys. As we have Robert Rader, James Loveland, Ted Reckich, Travis Gilbert in the 341. He's doing a fantastic job there. And Kevin Orlando rounding out the top 5 here, getting around the track in that 27 machine. But he is under fire right now. They're kind of by Grant Thorpe.
Yeah, Thorpe has to be a little bit careful not to get into Orlando right now. But having raced with each other throughout the entire season, they should know each other's driving styles, and that's one of the biggest benefits of racing in a league. You start to learn who the drivers you are racing around and learn what they kind of do in different situations, so you can be more confident with your moves. So for looking to the inside, going to get up the inside, but Orlando is going to try keep it on the high line, but Thorpe just having a better drive off and is going to be able to move his way up into the 5th position.
And that's a bummer for Kevin Orlando there. Kind of got dialing back. He is 2 positions down from where he started. So he was in 4th, enjoying that kind of time, but now out of the top 5. Still have his work cut out for him here. Remember, once again, we do have a competition caution at lap 40. And I'm sure these guys are already thinking, man, I could use some tires. You kind of have a sweet spot here at Phoenix on these tires. You got to wait about 8 laps to really start getting them sticky, and then you got 15 laps of hard racing, and then you start noticing the fall off. It's a lot harder in the next gens. It's not as bad here in the Xfinities for tire fall off, but really, as we see Parker Johnson kind of bite the wall there a little bit. But we, as we get going here, kind of do you try to extend that hard line that you can run for those 10 to 15 laps and try to see if you can extend it, maybe not as fast, but running a lot longer?
Strategists always want you to think about more of a long run. Just take it easy on the tires, make them last. But we're drivers at heart, and we want to go hard and fight for position. But sometimes drivers just need to take it easy, and that's something Robert Rader has been able to capitalize on all season. Just taking that step back and was like, okay, I'll let you get away for now, but I'll call you back in towards the end of the race or end of stint. And that's how he's been able to really capitalize. But you want to be able to make them last, so sometimes it's best just to go a little bit easier on them early on and then let it come to you in the later run. And someone who has been able to really capitalize on that today is Ted Reckich. Has closed up to Loveland in the 2nd position, and we'll be starting to really think about putting on a move in the near future.
Yeah, really, this is starting to become difficult there. Reckich, he's trying to gain his spot back from originally from where he started in that Toyota. I'm interested to see. Loveland has fallen off about 1.5 seconds off the lead there. As you can see kind of in the screen there, you see Rader just pulling away. And I think that's kind of what we've seen happen here is these guys just, they kind of dial it back there a little bit. Rader just kind of waits for them to burn up their tires, and he applies the pressure after that, which, takes a lot of discipline and a lot of patience to, kind of keep calm and maintain when you have so far to go. I mean, I thought Loveland may have, really get to pull away from this one, but you just notice that the tires are just not cooperating with him right now. But as Cole Trickle's crew chief said, tires win races, and we're definitely seeing a lot of that here tonight.
Yeah, we've been seeing it throughout the entire season, but Phoenix is a bit of an interesting track for me. I've found that just trying to keep it control of your tire wear in particular, it's not the easiest track to pass on, so you have the tires and you're suddenly going to have a much easier job and be able to get past those drivers who burnt up their tires a bit too much, and not the easiest to pass on, but with tires it will be a lot easier.
Yeah, this is being quite the battle back here. It looks like we got some tumbling around back here for 9, 10, 11, and 12. Boys, you see Richardson shoot that thing out on the outside, really pressuring that car there on the bottom, the number 4 of Cook. Man, really, this is you're starting to see Blake Cook kind of, you see him giving him a whole lot of space there. He, getting a little nervous. He's going to knock that outside mirror off, but, fortunately, they're only a mirror on the left front, so it just goes to show you how close they were getting there. And I just don't know, is Richardson and Earhart going to try to give this thing a push and work their way up to the front? They have fallen off by about 11 seconds off of Robert Rader here. I know these guys are running fast laps up in the front pile, as we're coming down with only 9 to go before the competition caution, kind of. So, really, what's the idea? Do you march up from here, or do you just, conserve and save the car for the later run?
Right now, I'd be wanting to be a bit more aggressive than I would, feel what the tires are going to be like, and then that way I can use that information for if we get a long run, and then towards the end of the race when I can then know, okay, I shouldn't be pushing now. I should wait a couple more laps before I push. But it's going to be very interesting, and we are seeing drivers either just keeping steady, or some drivers like Earhart start to really march their way through the field.
Yeah, quick check-in on Ted Rekich. He has gone ahead and overtaken James Loveland, so he has now resumed his position of when he started the race here. But, man, he has a 2-second gap to catch Robert Rader. So right now, that 53 machine is kind of cruising to the win here, or at least to the... excuse me, I won't call it from there. I don't want the commentator's curse to start happening on Robert Rader there. But... you just see that this competition caution is going to be all but, seal the deal for him here. He's going to be kind of cruising toward that stage checkered flag. But, man, really, Ted Rekich has got a lot of work cut out for him. And I think, his bed's made. This is where he's going to end up, second place. Loveland, he's still falling off by half a second off of Rekich now. And you just kind of see it's just the tire wear. I mean, Phoenix is so aggressive and so tough on these tires. It's just you see the fall off and how real it is. I mean, we're looking at Robert Rader. His fastest was a 27.764. He just ran a 29.206. So, I mean, it's over a second and a half drop off here, but he is still out there leading the race. So, it's hard to say here, kind of, really what the best strategy is.
Yeah, with how Robert has been driving really all season, it seems like he was a little bit more aggressive than he's been in previous races, but then once he got clear of Loveland, he then stepped it back a little bit, and then he stretched those tires out. So even though Rekich does have the better pace right now, it's only very marginal. So Rekich decided to go easy early on, make them last, but with doing that, in the previous races, he's gone too hard too early and then had to pay the price. So, stepped back and has been able to keep his tires working better. But Rader has really been the master of tires all season long, and showing that tonight, and should be able to, if nothing goes wrong, be able to get to the stage caution and win.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, I believe he holds the record in this league. 5 consecutive wins, and he already has 5 wins on this season. I believe the worst race he had was Kansas. He had an overheat issue. They got it fixed and went back out there 10 laps later and sent the engine to the moon after that. And the only other really tumble he's had since then was Pocono. Big wreck there, and he actually got that thing fixed after 20-some-odd minutes of repair and brought that thing out and still made a top 10. So, his consistency... Not just winning, but, I mean, he plays consistent top 5s, for the rest of the races other than those 2. And here we are, as we may be crowning him as the champ tonight. But it's man, just crazy. Crazy how these drivers are. I mean, a lot of these, it seems Robert Rader, Rekich, Loveland, they're almost on a different level. They are, between the speed they have for this entire race here, kind of, and the rest of these guys, I mean, that's why we're back here a little farther in the field of how clumped up the rest of these drivers are.
You say that, but Loveland, with his tire wear, has dropped back, and Travis G. Gilbert has been able to claw his way up to the rear bumper, but it's not going to be enough time to really take full advantage of that. So Loveland should be able to hold on, and we should see the green cactus at the start-finish line turn yellow very soon.
All right, and we are about to see seeing lap 40 here as we're getting going. See if these guys are going to try to make any sort of moves on Loveland there, but I think just the tire wear is just too much for these vehicles. You kind of think right there on that front stretch there that would be the start-finish line, but it is not. Start-finish line is actually coming up, so right there, and you just kind of see how what an odd situation that is as that pace car is rolling his way on out. A lot later, pace car finally gets out when Loveland's there, but Rader and Rekich are going to have to wait for the pace car to catch up. A lot of speed here by these by that 53 machine up there in the front there, kind of.
Yeah, 53 has had pace all season long, and not just on the short run, but on the long run, and just had the consistency. Consistency is key, and he's clearly shown that. And if he's able to get it done tonight and become champion, it's been a very well-deserved championship for him.
Man, really, and this is going to be crazy. You know, seeing that Racing Revolution is aiming up and lining up for Season 2. We'll have a little more from one of the admins later tonight on the updates for Season 2. That way you know where to find them, how to sign up, and you know, get lined up back with these guys, and really to see for any of those new recruits out there to see if you can come out here and beat that 53 Chapman Ford. I just don't know. So many guys have tried, and they have been successful, but man, he is a fast car here, and I wish anybody, you know, if you think you've got it, come on, see if you can give Robert Rader a run for his money and get this thing under your belt that you beat that 53 machine.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to see certain drivers dominate championships. We've seen it with Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson last year. We've seen it, but Robert Rader just having that consistency very early on, and then being able to use that momentum to carry him forward. Been able to work wonders with him, so it's not over just yet, but he has the points gap, so he can just take it easy and not really need to push it too much.
Yeah, and even farther back, if you want to talk about racers that get it out there, Jeff Gordon and that 24 and his Rainbow Warriors he had out there, those guys were set a new standard for pit stop speed. So, you know, I'm sure Denny Hamlin would probably appreciate some of that help out there on the track, seeing, you know, seeing how his luck is down pit road. But right there, looks like Robert Rader gets a fast pit stop there, in and out. So really no problems out of that machine. Looked like he took all 4 tires. I think it would probably be, you know, here at Phoenix, kind of suicide not to take 4 tires, as seeing we made it 40 laps, no caution. So I'm assuming we will probably have one more green flag stop and be able to get this thing stretched to the end. But boy, that's going to be a crazy one. I think now might be a good time here, Kynan. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to the bounty winners. You remember anything about those bounties there, Kynan?
Oh, there was a bounty put up for whoever can beat Robert Rader, and some drivers were able to, so I heard that they got a nice little reward.
Yes, they did, and we're going to go ahead and post that on the screen here. The Raider bounty. The winners were Trevor Earhart in the 13 machine, Brandon Richardson in the 29, and Daryl Johnson in the 8. So those 3 guys right there all won. They got their choosing of a scheme or a track, and Richardson's the only one who picked a track, and the other 2 guys picked paint scheme. So great job by those 3 drivers to beat that 53 machine, which, boy, that can get ugly quick and really put a hurting on that 53 machine, getting the best of him. But I believe that pace car look like that is down pit road, and we're about to line up for another go on this one. I'm interested to see. Some of these guys pit. Now, I think the way that the pace car came out kind of offset the field a little bit, that the back half was almost able to pit a little bit earlier than the rest of the field. Yeah, go ahead.
I heard on the radio under caution that some drivers were not too happy with how the pace car came out and allowed the back of the field to be able to pit. So, real unfortunate for Rader and the other people up in front, but it's worked out wonderfully for a couple of drivers, especially Caleb Gilbert, who ran in the back throughout the entire race, but because of that, he was able to then have luck with the pace car. So, things have all worked out, but first lap down and we're still completely clean.
Yeah, some people hate it, but I gotta admit, Kynan, I love it. Right now, this is going to put one heck of a challenge in front of that 53 machine. You know, I'm not saying those cars in front of him are slow. We'll just say off pace, as it looks like Parker Johnson gets slid and right there into the wall and bringing out our first unscheduled caution. I think that may have been just a little bit of tire slippage there. They hadn't seated in just quite yet. All right, let's go ahead and get that 10-4 replay worked up for you. Thank you again for joining us here at 10-4 Broadcasting, sponsored by Admin Box. If you haven't checked them out, go ahead and look at adminbox.com. Use the coupon code 10-4 box with 2 X's, and that should knock that thing down to 125. Favorable price for one of those if you're an admin or a league owner. But let's get back to the racing here. Parker Johnson here diving into this turn. Let's see kind of what happened here.
This looks like the rear right just gave up the will to keep giving him grip and fairly hard into the wall, but luckily it was only a single car spin. Bit of damage, but it doesn't look nearly as bad as it could have been if it had been a full-on head-on into the wall.
Yeah, nothing hateful from that car, but let's go ahead and ride along inside with Parker Johnson here, and let's take a look. You know, let's kind of see his correction as he tries to get through this turn.
You can see him already getting loose, and then he just snaps around, and nothing you can really do. Fairly hard in the wall, but hopefully everything's all good and nothing too bad. He's stayed out, so doesn't seem like he thinks that it's going to hinder him as bad as it may look.
Yeah, that right rear of that car is bent up pretty good. Let's try to see if I can get a little bit of that back end. Yeah, that thing's folded up there, kind of, as you can kind of see on our screen here. That spoiler's bent up, and I mean, should we be concerned? You know, or should he be concerned with the lack of downforce that may be providing him in the back?
Well, right now he is bringing it down pit lane, so going to try get some of the damage and dents straightened back out, so real unfortunate, but gonna have an incident. It's best to do it in the first couple moments of the race, and then that way you can get it all straightened out in time.
Yeah, just remember, no fast repairs in this league, so he is going to have to try to get to his box as fast as he can, probably nixing. Don't do the tires. The sliding may have helped heat him up. But he's got to get that damage fixed and try to get that, you know, that spoiler hammered back down. So we are taking a look there at that 48 machine, trying to get that thing, see if we can get it kind of squashed back down, get that that right rear fixed up a little bit. I hate to see it for that 48 car. That did put him down a lap, which is a little confusing. I think we're having a little bit of trouble with the pace car exit and entry coming into pit road here. Is just starting to become a bit of a problem here, Kynan. Really, where to go and how to enter and exit here.
I believe he went a lap down before we got the call.
Robert Rader's already gotten himself back into the 3rd position. Looks like that 40 machine and Robert Richardson. So Caleb Gilbert, and Brandon Richardson up there in the front. Robert Rader 3rd, Blake Cook 4th, Nick Alves 5th, James Loveland 6th, Grant Thorpe 7th, Kevin Orlando in the 8th position, Albert Likens. Big move for him in the 9th position. Michael Bennett in the 14 machine, rounding out your top 10. So it is interesting to see here how that pace car kind of ducks off there. Has the lights off, and look how far. I mean, this has got to be nerve-wracking that you almost have to do, you know, almost a third of a lap and try to come up to this, Geico restart zone here. So it's really, really confusing for some of these drivers. Is right there his now Caleb Gilbert's choice, and we are back under green, kind of.
Yeah, it was a fairly clean start, no real checkups or anything, but as always on the restarts, going in the dogleg, multiple cars fanning out, but then you've got to all then get back into an organized line, and as we have one around, multiple cars involved, and they're still getting in.
Yep. And we were just catching the butt end of that one. Looks like that 14 car got turned around. I see Tay McDonald pulling away from that one, and you can just see that 14 car sitting there. The frustration at this point, you know, getting that thing fired back up. With the season finale here on the line, you know, really where you place. They always say they remember you for your last race, and you got to be careful. I'm wondering if the track is laying a line of rubber that these guys aren't expecting getting back on this back under, you know, live racing here. Is let's take a look at that 14 machine and kind of see what happened to that car. Oh,
Gilbert just having more grip in the mid corner and wasn't expecting the 14 to be as slow as it was, and just ever so slightly got into him, and then other drivers not having enough time to really be able to react, and unfortunately started to kick off a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully that 48 machine was able to survive that one, I hope. I want to take a quick look at the 48 machine, who I think just barely squeezed by, but I am unsure. 48 in front of the 8 machine, so we'll see how he fares on this one. As we see him kind of piling up here, Bowden kind of gets a little bit of the wall there. 341, oof. And kind of clips him again. Man, if you just can't get a break. One thing about hanging out in the back, Kynan, if one caution brings another, is just you dodging more and more there in the back. I'm pretty good with wreck avoidance. You know, I don't really get target fixation, but, you know, sometimes there's nowhere to go. You don't have a choice. You're going to eat that car incoming, and it's unfortunate. No matter where you go or what you do, you just can't seem to get away from it.
Yeah, it's really hard when you then see a wreck happening. You try get slowed down. You see cars flying by and managing to get in, so then you try to get to that gap, still slowing down, or you might be accelerating, depending on the situation. You might be just trying to then accelerate away from it, but do that, then you might end up accelerating into a wreck, but then if you slow down, then you might get rear-ended, and then gaps can close, and it's just a helpless feeling when you see a big wreck happening and then there's nothing you can really do, because then suddenly the gaps that were there suddenly close, and then it's like, well, better hold on.
Yeah, certain things that you definitely have to keep an eye out for. Right now, you know, things you can fix and things you can't fix. Travis Gilbert in the 341 has unfortunately taken that vehicle back to the garage. He is done for the night, so that's one Gilbert down, unfortunately. But, man, a tough push by him tonight. He made a lot of moves, got his way up to the front, and then that last pile up there on the back, that may have done it in for him in the 341 machine. So sad to see Travis Gilbert have to go, but hopefully he will be ready and lined up for next season here, Kynan. But right now, it looks like Daryl Johnson and Parker Johnson are down pit right now. We'll have to kind of see how this gets going. As I may have put my foot in my mouth. Is Gilbert back? I'm wondering if he had a connection issue. Yeah, he is 3 laps down.
You would be correct on that.
Okay, yeah, my bad. That was totally my fault. It showed Gilbert, Travis Gilbert there as him probably having a connection issue and actually disconnected for a long time there on our screen. I was trying to find him, and he kind of disappeared on us. But, man, if there's one thing, you gotta love internet connection.
Oh. I live in Australia, and internet is sometimes not even really a thing here, so it's not the funnest thing to have to deal with, but luckily was able to get back out and can at least send off the season with a bit more enjoyment.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that 341 is back out. You know, so far, we still have all vehicles that did start the race. I take everything I said back, and I hope Travis Gilbert is able to find his way back up into the front, but he is a few laps down. He's going to have to give it a shot. 40 machine back in that Geico restart zone, and away he goes. Caleb Gilbert out in there in front of Robert Rader. So we're going to see the battle up here in the front, but boy, you do see that tangle up there in the back there, kind of. It's not long before these guys start getting mashed up.
Yeah, there was quite a messy restart on the high line, a massive checkup. Thorpe did get a bit of damage on his rear end, and I don't know who else got damage in that, but multiple cars did pick up some damage, so hopefully it isn't too bad.
Wow, and we are rotating back here, back where Kevin Orlando is. We saw Blake Cook, looks like he gave Loveland one heck of a checkup in there in one of those turns. Loveland taking a good time being easy on that, but let's rotate back up front. I believe Robert Rader is making a challenge for the lead and gone ahead and taken it away from Caleb Gilbert there, as I was just trying to sneak up there before that 53 car got a hold of him, but he was faster than I can click my mouse. So really, I assume that 53 car is going to line up and just absolutely take off for the rest of this race.
It's a blink and you miss it situation here at Phoenix International Raceway tonight. Got to be very much on your toes, especially on these restarts. Drivers are starting to get a bit more single file, but there is still a lot of drivers around you, especially around 6th to 10th position right now. Wreckage diving it up the inside of the 4 is going to be able to get the move done, but Loveland also going to be thinking about how that last run went, maybe just going a little bit easier on their tires.
Yeah, he is going to have to consider that there, Kynan. He is back there in the 8th position. So Loveland and Wreckage back here, a lot of fast guys that you do see, the 00 and the 02 car, really kind of having to, I'm not sure. I would have to push as hard as I can until the next stop. But man, you just wouldn't want to fall back. So maybe patience is a virtue at this track, as Robert Rader's showing that is working out. Already broken away by about a second here, so he may have his 6th win on the year. Loveland may try to make a move around Wreckage here. I'm not sure. Wreckage was faster later on during the run. He kind of took it easy during the first half and then kind of slacked off after that. Really a lot of big movers up here. Robert Rader taking the lead. Caleb Gilbert 2nd. Nick Alves in 3rd. Grant Thorpe 4th. Ben Richardson. Brandon Richardson. Man, I'll screw that one more time. I'll let you come over and slap me. Ted Wreckage looks like he has lost a position there to Kevin Orlando in the 27 machine, but they are going to continue battling it out. James Loveland 8th. Albert Likens, I believe that is in the 9th position. Scott Negus in the 39. Negus had a little trouble there, clipping the wall a couple of times, but a quick little hammer out from the pit crew and 4 tires, and we're back underway for that 39 machine.
Wreckage and Orlando did make a bit of contact that previous time by, but they were able to keep the giant cactus green, so Wreckage getting a little bit wobbly in turn 1 and 2. I've been calling it 3 and 4 because I'm thinking of old Texas. Old Phoenix, but it's going to be able to keep it steady, and Wreckage and Loveland really starting to claw their way back up. I don't know what's happening to me.
You and me both, man. I think it's the season finale, and just I think that's the deal with Phoenix. Is it's just such an odd track. It's so oblong, you know. It's kind of got that normal tri-oval, but the dog leg ends, you know, has that Pocono feel. It has that one weird cross turn to it that just kind of seems to trip everyone up, as well as us here in the booth, kind of getting, you know, tangled up at where they can go. But man, you see some of these drivers here. I thought Parker Johnson may have been back on the lead lap, but he unfortunately did not. I believe Daryl Johnson got that one, and he is back on the lead lap. So Parker Johnson probably going to need one more caution to come out and get back for that lucky dog position. Boy, but as clean as these racers are driving, I got to agree with Stella out there in the chat. Love how clean racing these drivers do. Yes, they do. One driver you do not see here tonight, I know we kind of joke around with him, Ray Lane, or Ray Lane, in that 44 machine. He is not out here tonight. Unfortunate to not see him. He did actually win in another league on Sunday at the Big Show. Kynan was there with me. And, man, he was actually able to walk away with that one there at Auto Club Speedway. And I really wanted to see him for the finale, but duty calls. His job made that phone call, and he was there. So I hope to see him in Season 2 there, Kynan.
Yeah, it's real unfortunate. Sometimes real life has to take priority over iRacing, though. So we wish him luck with whatever he has to do now, but right now, Wreckage up to the back of Richardson, going to be looking at making an overtake fairly soon, but just not being able to really find an opportunity to be able to just yet.
Yeah, not quite yet, as it looks like 3rd through the 7th position. These guys have all clumped up and, you know, really making a race out of it, as, you know, unfortunately, Robert Rader has gone ahead and pulled away by over a second now off Caleb Gilbert, so he's still having to kind of bide his time here, you know, kind of let him march away, chew one lap off at a time, as we only have 54 laps to go left in the season finale here at Phoenix. This is 10-4 Broadcasting. Patrick Morrison here with Kynan Jones here with the Racing Revolution League. As exciting as this has been all year, I mean, the way I see this racing here, you know, I love how this one is really kind of cracking up to be. This one's boiling down to be, you know, just the base roots racing here at Phoenix.
Yeah, the two Toyotas we have a caution out on track right now.
Alrighty, look out. Oh, man. And if there's one person who's liking this, that is going to be Parker Johnson. That will put him back on the lead lap for that lucky dog position. Looks like Trevor Earhart got the worst of that one, as we're going to roll ahead with that 10-4 replay here and kind of see how, you know, what unfolded for this one in that 13 Black Rifle coffee machine. There's a little bit of trouble. Let's get that Michelin chopper view here. Here we go. Let's see how that 13 fares on this turn.
On the low line, just being able to roll the bottom better, and Earhart just came down and slight contact, and it just sent Earhart around.
and really a smart move there. We saw, I believe, Trevor Earhart at Pocono kind of have that same move during a caution lap or during the race lap at Pocono. Remember, he slid off that crossover turn at 160 miles an hour and brought that thing as close as a piece of paper to the wall. So really a very, very close stop for him. He said he needed a new race suit, and hopefully he's got a new one for this 13 machine. I hope it wasn't as bad. He needed a seat. But we'll take a ride along here and kind of see what you have to do to keep it off the wall here in Trevor Earhart's car. Man, look at that kind. As you kind of see, unusual. Most guys lock up the brakes. He held that thing to the floor to get the tires rotating in a different direction.
What that's going to do is it's just going to help rotate the car a little bit more. It's a very hit or miss strategy. It's going to produce smoke, but it can just help rotate the rear around and kind of keep your car a little bit more straight. So if you just hit on the brakes, you're just going to then slide. So if he had have done that, yes, it would have been a little bit better, but he would have gone up into the wall, and then that would have bounced him back into traffic. So this time he was able to do the right thing by doing that, but you've got to be careful with doing it at the same time. But just a quick update, Ted Wreckage has taken it to the garage, maybe some sort of mechanical issue or something. But also, we spoke to Robert Rader before, and the estimated fuel run was around 47 laps. We're currently on lap 71 of 120, so the drivers with this caution will be able to make it, but it's going to be very, very close.
Yeah, 50 laps to go left in here at Phoenix Raceway. Robert Rader went ahead and he went ahead and pit as well. Do not know if he ended up getting tires. May have to have you take a quick peek at that there, Kynan. But Robert Rader has gone ahead. He's still in the lead. This will give a couple of those other drivers another shot at giving it another go here. I know I know this is some trouble here, especially with the way pit road is and things like that. And, I'm glad to see Robert Rader didn't get behind a whole lot of cars there, just with the kind of offset runs they make here. But Ted Wreckage, he's still, I believe he may be broken. I wonder if something happened to his vehicle. I don't want to call it too soon, but right now on our ticker there on your screen, showing him about 72 laps down. So he has made that run, and that's kind of where he has stopped at this point. Travis Gilbert still 3 laps down. Darrell Johnson ends up back a lap down, but Parker Johnson back on the lead lap. So fortunately for him, he's back on the lead lap and was still able to pit. So I'm hoping to see that 48 car break up at least into the top 10. But he's got a lot of drivers, willing to turn and burn and get back up in the front.
Pace car is in as we're coming around to go back under green. Robert Rader deciding to opt for the high line this time, just hoping to maybe be able to accelerate better and use the banking to help give the car a bit more grip. But into the restart zone, we're back under green.
Yeah, he will probably start high. That way he can make that long sweeping turn right there, as you're going to see a lot of those drivers really trying to kind of compete with that. That's that move there. And then when you come back up the track, the squeeze, it looks like we got somebody tumbling around there in the back, around Scott Negus, I believe. Oh, and Tay McDonald's around. Look out.
Nope, I was about to say they saved it, but then a separate incident happened.
Oh, man. And it looks like David Stanfield in that 31 machine kind of bid it on that one, as well as Tay McDonald. Boy, that's not what you want to see. Unfortunately, I may do a first thing ever, is I'm going to blame this on a 10-4 viewer curse. As I'm going to say Stella called it out for such clean driving, and now we've got pileups by the bunches.
Stella was just saying how someone needs to wake up the pace car driver, but as soon as they say that, we get 2 cautions in a row.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and see the first incident here of the 16. Looks like Albert Likens. A little something happened here. Ooh, there it is. Okay, so the float up by that vehicle there. And then I think we had another separate incident back here with McDonald. Here in the 2. Oh boy, and we saw this earlier. Same problem, 31 trying his best to get out of the way. Oof. And just
31 just having...
Yeah, go ahead.
The 31 looked to have just had a bit too much rear brake, which is going to help when you're under green flag racing. It can help rotate the car, but when you got to take wreck avoidance like that, it's not going to help, and it's going to unfortunately snap the car sideways, as he's unfortunately found out just then.
And we're going to go ahead and give that 50-50 feel of how some people feel about this here. I want to take a look at Stanfield, and let's make sure he didn't get an extra helping right trying to avoid this one. All right, so Tay McDonald kind of up there in that corner. Did he? Oh. I wasn't sure if Earhart there kind of gave him a little music there to the rear bumper to kind of force that little extra there. Or your favorite saying, netcode.
Netcode is the best thing in iRacing.
Yes, I want to take another slow peek at this. I've got to know. Let me see. Let's try 13. Let's try some live action shots here. I want to see what happens to this.
He's already sideways.
But, right? Okay, he missed him. That was close. That was close. Okay, I want to make sure if he was already sideways and had a chance of bringing the vehicle to a stop, did Earhart give him a little extra to kind of push him out of the way so he could go ahead and get back? Something else to kind of keep in mind here, Kynan. I wonder if it would be a good idea for some of these cars in the back to pit again, to try to kind of offset it a little bit. Maybe an extra set of tires. That they may have to burn or top off on fuel, where if some of these guys are in the front and they just don't have enough fuel, is this one of those ones that, okay, now they do, and Robert Rader, let's say Caleb Gilbert, Nick Alves, they're going to make it by half a gallon. It's kind of, this may be a strategy for the backfield to actually try to get the upper hand on the front.
If you're in the back, you've got nothing to really lose, but you can gain a lot. So some drivers seem to have opted to pit and take an extra set of tires and fuel. So it should be interesting to see if it goes green, it's going to work out. But if we get a couple more cautions, then that strategy is then going to be taken away. And then it's just going to come down to who can really be fastest on the short run.
Yeah, kind of a bummer there. It looks like Ted Rekish has gone ahead and checked out for the night. Unfortunately for that machine, I knew he was 17th in points, trying to definitely get to the top 15, the top half of those point standings, but it looks like he will be unable to do that. Interesting move there by that 31 car, kind of hanging out there on the side as he dials it back in. Awesome job. So really, here it is, that nail-biting moment where we're about to get back underway. Geico restart zone. Here we go. Robert Rader, there he goes. Little spin from the 40 machine. Nick Alves gets into the back of him. No harm, no foul. As these guys get back underway here, and we're seeing bumping and banging. Nick Alves on the move.
Oh, getting a really good run for... Oh
no! Look out! Nick Alves, hold it! No, Parker Johnson!
No.
Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh,
you
no.
had to say something about Alves, didn't you?
Nick Alves in the Coastal Financial Camaro. Man, he had it. I'm wondering if he ended up with a little help. I thought I saw Loveland give him a little rear bumper adjustment, and then around he went. I'm unsure. I don't want to make that call just yet, but if there's one thing I am going to call on is that Michelin chopper view. And let's go ahead and see what happened here with this 24 machine as we kind of get lined up for this turn here. Ooh, gives the 40 a little bit. There we go. There's the Loveland connection. Orlando into Loveland, so you just see that chain reaction. And here we go. Let's see the wreck avoidance.
I was thinking Alves was maybe going to be able to survive, but nowhere
to
really
go.
Anyone can go.
Yeah, nowhere to go. I think Parker Johnson may be done for the night as his car. Ooh, watch out! It looks like Daryl Johnson kind of got it into the 48 as well. 16 of Albert Likens goes ahead and slides out of the way, and that's going to be heartbreaking for that car, seeing how he ended up tangled up there toward the end. Loveland was able to dive toward the bottom. and get out of the way of most of that. But really, it wasn't much they could have done through that wreck there, kind. And I just don't know if there was anything anybody really could do. I want to take a ride along with Earhart here. He has been doing a heck of a job here all race with some avoidance, but I don't know what ended up happening during this wreck. So let's see where he ended up right here in the replay. So let's see how he avoids this one as he gets through the turn. Man. As you see him kind of double clutch it there and think twice about going to the inside line. Fortunately, yeah, I know it's kind of quick to do there, kind of, as you do when you see an accident like that. Giving a check to that left mirror, looking in your rear view to make sure you can do it, and then having enough time to also consider your spotter while you're holding on the wheel what to do. You know what I mean? Because you got less than a second to figure that out.
Yeah, it happened very quickly. I came from a Formula 4 race just before this, and massive wreck in turn 1. I went from 16th all the way up to 4th in just a lap, and that was just because of a split second just being able to open the steering and be able to slip past, but there's really no time to react. It's all just muscle memory and what you really know what to do from just what your muscles know what to do. You don't have time to think, especially when things happen that quickly. Maybe if it was happening at a bit slower speed and you're a bit further back, but when it's happening this quickly and that close to you, you don't think about it, you just act.
Yeah, and Linda out there on Facebook, a lot of wrecks. Darn, I agree with you. We went 40 laps without a caution. I believe it was 43 without a caution. That was a little bit after the competition caution, and these guys are kind of getting bent up and around on this track here, so it's starting to become a little difficult here. I just don't know. I hate seeing here at the season finale just so many cars, not with perfect bodies. They're all getting bent up and totaled out here. It's going to be difficult. I'm curious to see Parker Johnson having to, I guarantee you, got the meatball flag out there and is having to bring it in for some serious repairs.
Real unfortunate, wasn't able to really find a break throughout the entire race, but the pace car is back in now. It's a long wait just to get around the back straight and get around the dog leg, and then we'll be back on the green.
Yeah, really, it's a real bummer for Parker Johnson there here on that car. You see that massive damage as we got right there. Man, that stinks. But here we go. Robert Rader lining up for that Geico restart zone. Really something new to all these drivers this year. As the 53 gets lined up, there he goes. So remember, no change to the race line till after the line. So there they go, and then we're about to find out here, kind of. We're gonna get some green flag laps under here.
Oh, it does not appear like it yet.
Oh, we end up getting tangled in the back.
Looks to be the 14.
Oof, sounds like a little trouble out of Tay McDonald here in that number 2 vehicle. He seems to have gotten a little trouble there. Let's go ahead and get another 10-4 broadcast and replay. Unfortunately, I'm sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. Racing Revolution is normally not like this. We got a lot of, we have some cautions here and there, but this is starting to kind of get a little silly for some of these drivers, I'm sure for you as well. Let's take a look at that 14 machine, Kynan. You called it. Let's go ahead and see what happened here.
Earhart just putting it down low, and then maybe a small bit of netco, but either way, trying to be a little bit ambitious, and then contact made, and then cars piled in, but real unfortunate. 14 didn't have any luck at Nashville Fairgrounds, but luck has not improved tonight.
Yeah, we're going to take a look along here with McDonald here, man. I hate to see this happen. You think you got it. The wreck's down at the bottom as we're taking a ride along, and here he is. You think you had a line, and then here he comes. Up the track he goes, and that just that didn't help. A little quick clip from that 31 machine went ahead and sent him around, so kind of taking a quick peek at him as he's going around the track here, if he's having any sort of an issue with that machine. Yeah, it looks like the engine's still running. It did sound like he had a misfire there, but it looks like he's back underway, and I'm sure he's heading straight to pit road after that.
Speaking of pit road, there was a bit of drama going on between the 2 and the 48 on pit road.
Yes, there was. And I see that as you say it there, buddy. And I'm going to go ahead and roll this. Let's do a little... What happened here? The 48 is heading... Okay, heading down pit road. Oh. Boy. That's Yep, that is how you start a rivalry for next season. That is exactly
I'm
what you
staying
do.
away from that.
We got to be very careful on that one. We are supposed to be impartial up here, but I do not know. I believe the 48 machine had a lot longer to go to get to his pit box. There's kind of a certain way you get to your pit box. You kind of hang on the outside line there, Kynan. You know, I'm sure you know it. You hang on the outside line until you're about 4 or 5 spots from. You make your inside line move and then a quick jerk into your line. Of course, in front of, if you're in front, like Robert Rader, Caleb Gilbert, probably your top 5, you're going to ride that inside line regardless. Shave some time off your pit stop time instead of having, slice across lanes. But that is just, it's damage you don't need. You know what I mean? It's a clip and a spin out. It's, fortunately, it was under caution. The worst thing that could have happened here, Kynan, is if this was a green flag stop and McDonald got turned around, I'd have probably gotten out of the car and given it the Tony Stewart helmet throw toward him because you ruined my race. But it looks like McDonald may be out of the race, but we'll wait a little bit and see if he returns.
From my understanding and timing, he has taken it to the garage and he is done for the night.
Yeah, definitely. He's been kind of tied up in some of these cautions. Hate to see that number 2 car out for the rest of the race. Sean Lattin, it is cursed. I was hoping not. We had a heck of a start. I mean, it was a great start. We had 40 laps. There was battles, everywhere. Everybody kind of single filed, but now we're starting to get to the the final third of this race, and we got guys trading paint and now starting to trade car parts for that matter. It's just it's hard to say, hard to really kind of guess this one at this point. I mean, I don't want to say it, but I mean, if Loveland kind of sends it here, this could change the race. Loveland should know that Robert Rader is very quick on these restarts. He doesn't seem to wait long into that Geico restart zone. Yep, there he goes. So Loveland needs to be quick on that loud pedal to get out in front here, Kynan. So, oh man, Loveland having a battle for third now, and here we go.
Loveland has a massive dent in their rear left, and going to be interesting to see how badly that affects the car, but with how the drivers have been driving so far, we've been able to keep it green going around turn 1. I know sharing is caring, but I don't think you're supposed to be sharing your car path with each other.
Yeah, as we definitely see this one getting underway. Loveland trying to battle for that second position. Caleb Gilbert not looking to give that up. Not so easy. That 40 machine has been out front from a little weird pit stop they had there. It's going to work out for Caleb Gilbert in that 40 machine from where he started. 13 spots up. You got to love it. 4 machine around. Man, it looks like that 4 Chevrolet of Blake Cook is around, bringing out another caution for tonight. Definitely a bummer there. I don't know if Scott Negus got into any part of that. Blake Cook, normally a pretty decent driver and stays pretty clean, but just got the butt end of this one. Really kind of wrong place, wrong time for that 4 machine. So we'll kind of see here in this 10-4 replay what he was doing as they were battling back here behind Richardson. All right, Mr. Kynan, let's go ahead and give this one a run here. 39 of Negus on the inside of the 4. Oh.
Negus just came up ever so slightly for holding their line, but it's all it takes, and Negus just sending Blake Cook around, and unfortunately, Cook did get the worst end of the stick there.
Oh, okay, so we don't want to blame netcode this time, huh?
No, it's... As much as I want to.
Give it a quick slow down here. Let me see if I can... Right? There.
Yeah, this time there was no netcode, which is a good thing. we don't want netcode. It's a bit of a cheap excuse, and it's not the best thing to have
Oof.
to blame all the time. But unfortunately, someone has to be at fault, and this time Negus just made that small little correction, having to come up the track with running that low line, and Blake Hook was just in the right place at the wrong time.
Yeah, and that may be something to take a look at, is that 4 machine. Taking actually a look at, let's say, that cockpit view. I want to take a look at that mirror. And when I talked about that before, is that mirror there on the left side, as we're going to kind of take that cockpit view. Let's kind of see where that red car shows up. Here he is. Clink. Yep. Oh, there's definite contact on that one. So, yeah, big time. Gets that 4 machine turned around. Boy, there's Earhart again in the 13. A lot of wreck avoidance here tonight for him, but, man, that is unfortunately what you get when you are in the backfield here, unfortunately. You know, no one wrecks going forward. Everyone wrecks going back. But, man, this is going to be difficult. You know, Robert Rader now playing a little bit of, as they would say in the iRacing world, they're kind of a little bit of eye-pacing at this point. You know, he had a good run. He gave Loveland, you know, run for his money, started pulling away, and ever since he's just been kind of chipping away a couple laps here and there, and I just don't know how the heat cycling is going to do for that car.
What it's going to do is it's going to keep the tires in a better working condition for longer when we do eventually get into a green flag run, but it's real unfortunate that it has to happen, and for the mental state on a driver, this is the worst time. You want to get back to green. That's when you can really start getting tuned in, and then things just become natural. You don't really think about too much when you're properly driving, so when you're under caution lap after lap for a long period of time like this, then your mind starts to get a bit distracted, and then suddenly you're wondering what you're going to be eating for dinner when you're supposed to be wondering, okay, where can I get time in this corner?
I understand that. Right now, we are going to go ahead and cut to commercial here right quick as we are 1 to go. Pace car laps are off, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, and just in time, butt kicker commercial is over. We are back live there with Robert Rader up here in the front, really kind of having to see them dice back through these turns once again. You see Grant Thorpe almost taking about 4 wide back there. We're going to kind of rotate back that way here in a little bit as we see Kevin Orlando battling for a 3rd and 4th position there. Butt Kicker, one of the finest sponsors out there for this league, along with Chapman Environmental Services, proudly offering broad spectrum regulatory compliance, permitting, field sampling services, and more. Visit ChapmanES.com. Chapman has definitely got to be proud of their number 1 driver out here, that 53 machine of Robert Rader, who has maintained the lead for most of this race here, and as you know, as you can see, I believe Nick Alves in the 24, another Chapman vehicle there in the 7th. So they got 2 vehicles up here in the top 10, really battling it out. But something to take away here, Trevor Earhart, with the amount of wreck avoidance he has, that 13 machine has gone ahead and he's worked his way just outside the top 5.
Yeah, he's been able to just claw his way up, even with that damage not affecting him too much, but once you start working your way up the field, the competition gets a lot more, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can continue to work his way up, but you've also got to be careful not to get into more wrecks when you do go up. You got to go push the car even harder just to be able to be more competitive. So you got to be careful, but Earhart was seen is a race winner from Pocono, knows how to get it done, so should be interesting.
As he's able to go ahead and get this thing underway in that 13 machine, winner at Pocono, and I believe 2nd place. Oh no, as Nick Alves is around. Watch out, watch out. Oh no, and Stanfield catches him again. Dang. Boy, and if this is working out for one person, Travis Gilbert in the 341, I believe this will put him back on the lead lap. Wow. Talk about lucky for that 341 machine. Unfortunately, I think 341 may have too much damage to remain competitive there up in the front. But, man, if he's able to get back on the lead lap here, hopefully he's got most of those bumps and dents taken out of that car. That way he can go ahead and get back out here. Let's see if we can go ahead and see Nick Alves underneath, above Scott Negus, I believe, here in the 39. And let's kind of see what happened here. Let's see if we can get a good chopper view there. Michelin chopper view again, 24. Let's see what happens here. Oh, boy. Yeah, we kind of saw it right there. Look at that move.
And, oh. Once again, Alv just getting very unlucky with that final car coming in and really delivering a big hit. Had it basically all saved, shouldn't have really gotten too much damage, but then just out of nowhere, the 31 not having anywhere to really be able to go as Alves came down, and then that door that was there suddenly had closed.
Yeah, we do see. And look at the 4 here. Look at Blake Cook at the reaction time of the spin and then being able to keep composure to get through. That was amazing driving by the 4 machine. I'm going to show that one more time. Blake Cook with an amazing save here, getting away from this tie-up here. One more time. Watch the 4. Look at this.
You can see the flames spitting out the car, meaning he's off the throttle, and just being able to arrest some of the speed that he was taking was able to just allow a gap to be able to open up. But real lucky and a lot of skill to be able to get through that.
Wow. Wow. I mean, just... that is insane. I know I said one more. All right, let me give a cockpit view of this. This is a Code Brown moment. Look, right. Oh, man. God. Wow. Blake Cook with the move of the race. Excellent job by that machine there. And his driving skill. It just goes to show, Racing Revolution, no matter who or where, somebody can go out there and show you how it's done. I believe that 4 machine may have gotten in a little bit of a tie-up at Talladega, if I remember right. He ended up on that last lap kind of getting the... really not the best finish on that race. And I believe it was a last lap spin out during that one. I believe Ray Lane, I think, actually got tied up in that one too. I think he had that one almost won, and he got tied up in there. But man, really, with that move there, that will go ahead and put Blake Cook into the 6th position. Really almost just, taking a peek right on the outside of the top 5 there. Scott Negus, getting in a couple of these tangle-ups here, has worked his way into the top 5. Brandon Richardson, 4th. Looks like Kevin Orlando has now finally got his way up into a podium position in the 3rd. Caleb Gilbert starting on the outside here. And it looks like Robert Rader is going to go ahead and opt for the inside line here. So David Stanfield, Nick Alves are down pit road now, and I'm sure they're having to, hammer out more than just dents on that one.
Yeah, it's real unfortunate that we've had so many incidents. Not what we're used to with Racing Revolution, but once the drivers then are able to figure it out a bit more, then we'll be able to tick off these last 18 laps fairly quickly. Robert Rader getting another very strong launch. The 27 of Orlando being able to follow him and be able to move his way up into the 2nd position.
14 cars still mobile with 19 laps to go. Robert Rader up in the lead with his best buddy in the league, Kevin Orlando, right behind him in that 27 machine. Interesting to see how these guys can get around here. The 2 Fords, 1 and 2 right now, getting ready to get this thing around. Robert Rader now taking off. He has been commanding all race so far, but Kevin Orlando has to be careful as he is under fire by Caleb Gilbert and Brandon Richardson.
A little bit further back in around 5th position, it got a very very dicey, but luckily they were able to keep the cactus green, but very close, but luckily nothing really came of it, and were able to keep good racing going on right now.
Yeah, and as you mean by the cactus green right there, you kind of see as we get to that start-finish line, as you see when it comes through our screen there, it is the flags that they fly there instead of the flashing lights along the sides. They do have that as well, but they put a giant cactus out there, of course, for Arizona, because man, is it hot, and and the only way to make it true to Arizona is a bunch of cactuses. So they did. They went ahead and put one there. There it is again. So keep that thing green. I like the way you say that, Kynan. So here we go. 16 to go. Stella out there. Okay, 18 to go. Heads Up Racing. Absolutely. I know we got 18 viewers out there showing on my little ticker. So, guys, hit me with the comments. I know Robert Raider looks like he's got this one about sealed. But if y'all want to call who's second and third so far, I want to hear it. Because Earhart has now all of a sudden got a massive burst of speed out of that 13 machine. Has been kind of tangled up in the back. Wreck avoidance working out well for him as we are getting ready to start hammering 3 wide here, going for second, third, and fourth position. James Loveland getting hammered in there, trying to figure out where he can sneak through as Brandon Richardson watches from behind.
Caleb Gilbert has been just swarmed by Fords. Earhart and Loveland coming up, and then with Orlando already being in front of Gilbert at the time. But then also have the 341 of Travis Gilbert, another Ford in the match, but 5 Fords all fighting for the top 5 right now.
All right, it looks like the Ford machines are going ahead and taking command of this race. Earhart got a little high into one of those turns, kind of clipped the wall there a little bit. He's worked his way into third. Looks like Kevin Orlando, he's fallen back from the second position all the way back to fifth as we see these guys continue to battle. Looks like, Brandon Richardson here in that 29 machine still trying to work on Travis Gilbert. Remember, he was 3 laps down and has now fought his way up into the 6th position, challenging for that 5th. So we'll have to see if that 341 can get it done, as the inside line seems to be more favorable here at Phoenix.
Yeah, the inside just being able to make the track shorter. Oh, that's not good. They were able to save it somehow.
29 with a great piece of driving right there, able to save it. Unfortunately, it will cost him, but won't cost him the race. He still remains in the top 10 in that 29 machine, able to keep that thing composed. I'm sure that radio is lighting up between the spotters and crew chiefs right now, and the key is to remain calm. We have 12 to go. It's not a good idea to be headhunting right now. Keep your car in good shape and get around this track as you see Richardson flying on the inside of Scott Negus here, putting the pressure on. Ooh, boy, a little ricochet move. That should look a little familiar from earlier in the race as we see Richardson going ahead and slicing in front. Shows you that dog leg cut does work there, kind of.
Yeah, it is able to work. You're able to cut the track short, but especially when you're able to get a good run and make it more of a straight line. But just a quick note on our leader, Robert Raider. He is currently 0.3 slower a lap than second place James Loveland. So Loveland has the better tires right now as it appears, but maybe Raider is just biding his time and maybe taunting Loveland a little bit, or maybe he's actually got tire issues.
Yeah, Loveland, he was fast before his tires wore out. It would be something to keep in mind. Loveland up here putting a lot of speed on Robert Raider. But I know this is a throwback for some of you guys, really, really far back. If you remember at Charlotte, we had 200 laps. I believe it was Ray Lane that I believe led. I'll take my word on that. Let me see if I can find out. I believe it was yes, Ray Lane led 109 laps there at Charlotte. And Robert Raider actually came back and won that race. He won that, and I believe it was the same race. Yeah, he won that race by 21.3 seconds. But and I know it's even farther of a stretch, which becomes relevant here, is Robert Raider actually let off and let the guys start catching him and dropping off as Robert Raider takes a huge bite out of that turn. 8 to go. Loveland now takes the lead. So here we are with the standings, 1 and 2. These guys back up front. Tay McDonald, yeah, see you out there in the chat, bud. Great race tonight. I hope this thing works out for you. Appreciate you thanking us here at 10-4 Broadcasting. I really enjoy watching you guys. I know you say it's better than this, but, Phoenix is a tough track, so it definitely brings another kind of an angle to racing here, especially when you take an open-wheeled track and try to put stock cars on it. But Robert Rader already half a second off the lead here, and he's got to change his race line and the way he's running right now, because Loveland has that short run speed as Parker Johnson staying out of the way of Robert Rader so that 53 machine can get as much speed as possible. Good move by Parker Johnson, kind of staying out of the way with a broke down car. We understand you still want to race, but you don't want to take anything away, as Robert Rader still here kind of falling back. He's about a second off that lead, so I just don't know if he's got enough time as we're coming up about 5 to go.
Yeah, right now it just seems like Robert Rader maybe burnt his tires up a bit too much. Something we're not used to saying from the 53, but right now Loveland is not going to be wanting caution. It's going to mean that tires are then going to be able to be replaced, but then who's going to take tires and who doesn't? So a caution is not what Loveland is going to want, but as things stand, Rader will be champion, so he doesn't really need to win. So it's a lot of things different going on, but as things stand, with 4 to go, Loveland does lead, but Rader does have the fastest lap of the race at least.
Yeah, and just goes to show you that consistency will get it done. Somebody who's getting it done right now, Brandon Richardson, definitely trying to put some more work there on Kevin Orlando. It puts Kevin Orlando back to the 8th position. It seems he's kind of having the Robert Rader issue here, as maybe those tires are burned up. I just don't know how long that 27 Ford machine can hold on. I just don't. It seems to have a little trouble there. Some of these guys taking that little bit of a higher line. Looks like Albert Likens there. He's going ahead and taking that high line. Blinking out a little bit there, but there he is. He's back. But a lot of these, just a lot of these guys. Looks like Stanfield's going to finish 16th. Nick Alves is going to finish 15th. Parker Johnson fought back. He's now a lap down. Where's that 341? Looks like Travis Gilbert. Yeah, he looks like he has made his way up into the 5th position. So good moves by a lot of these drivers out here. It just seems some of these guys did get caught up and just getting caught up in some of the issues here. But this will set the record for Robert Rader, remaining at 5. He did not seem to seal 6 as we have 2 to go. So let's go ahead and rotate up here to the front. Robert Rader 2 seconds off the lead. So this is all but over for Loveland. As soon as he crosses the line, we have 1 to go. So the white flag is out here, kind of, as James Loveland, has gone ahead and sealed the win tonight here at Phoenix. 120 laps. Really, I didn't count him out, but I did have my doubts. He led the beginning of the race, and Robert Rader ran him down and then pulled away. I'm just wondering if any of the heat cycling of the tires played up for Robert Rader, but that goes ahead and wins it for Loveland. So what a run here for these drivers, as we're going to run through our top 10 here. James Loveland taking the win here tonight at Phoenix. Robert Rader in the 53 machine. Trevor Earhart taking the 3rd. Great wreck avoidance and stick-to-itiveness got him in that position there. The Gilberts. Caleb in the 40 machine goes ahead and finishes 4th, and it looks like Travis Gilbert in the 341 finishes 5th. Grant Thorpe comes in 6th, Brandon Richardson 7th. Blake Cook, with that quick move there, he was able to avoid, ends up 8th. Kevin Orlando 9th, and Scott Negus in the 10th position. So that should get Daryl Johnson in the 11th, Adam Bowden in the 12th, Albert Likens 13th, Parker Johnson 14th, Nick Alves, who ended up in that last pileup, and David Stanfield in 15th and 16th. Tay McDonald had to check out. Michael Bennett in 18th, and Ted Rekich in the 19th position to round out our night. So really, great job there, Stella calling that one for Loveland. Kind of checking out and biding his time, waiting to go ahead and you really reel him in here and get this one, won for him here tonight, as we see Loveland kind of frying the tires off there, right there at that start-finish line, enjoying the cactus. So I wonder if the 02 and the 13 are going to kind of spin tires on each other here and send the last of that rubber to the promised land. But really, Kynan, what can we take away from this race and the wrap up here?
Right now, can just really think how good of a season it was for Racing Revolution. Yeah, it did get a little bit messy at the end there, but they were able to clean it up for the final 15 to 20 laps, and Loveland just being able to use what he learned from the first little stint we had in this race and end up coming back with ties. And even though Robert Raider wasn't able to get a sixth win, he will manage to get the fastest lap of the race at least.
Yeah, and it was definitely a tough run for a lot of these drivers here tonight, and we're going to go ahead and let's get right to it. Trevor Earhart here in the booth in that 13 machine. Trevor, go ahead and walk us through the final run of this race here, bud.
It was a good strategy call with my teammate Loveland. He said he was going to come in and pit, and I didn't have anything to lose, so came in with him. The new tires worked out. A little bit of contact with Kevin gave me a scare going down the, I guess what is now the backstretch into 3 and 4. And after that, the engine started overheating, so I let Loveland go and just tried to nurse it back with the water temp flashing at me for the last 15 laps of that race. But, what a race. It was a very eventful race on my behalf, and I think for a lot of guys in the field there in the second half. But overall, good race, good recovery run for the 13 machine, and glad to bring it home in third place.
Yeah, maybe some of that overheating was from a little bit of that damage you had in the front and the right front of that 13 machine. Really, it was a heck of a push there. We did see some wreck avoidance. I did do a couple slow-mos just to make sure in case anybody had any questions of what had happened, if you were a part of it, if you were the problem. But, really, obviously it's safer running up in the front of the field. What did you find that, ended up being so many problems that were there in the back?
I think with how wide this is on the restarts going into turns 1 and 2 and how many different lines you can have when everybody just comes back together there, especially late in the race, you're going to have issues because guys are going to be aggressive naturally. And it just closes up so quick there, and it just happens. I know I got into Michael on one of those restarts, and that was 100% on me. I just drove it a little too deep into turn 1 and got into him and slid him up the track. But that's how Phoenix goes sometimes on these restarts. They get hectic, and you just got to avoid them. And thankfully, we avoided most of the carnage, not all of it. Put it in the wall a couple times myself, got squeezed up into the wall once or twice, but you know what? Able to recover. Happy for my teammate Loveland getting the win, and got to congratulate Rob on getting the championship. He was Mr. Consistent all season.
Yeah, and he did a fantastic job, and we will connect with both those gentlemen here in a little bit. Winning at Pocono and placing second at Watkins Glen, here you are at the podium in the season finale. You guys are lining up for season 2. I know you guys will have a couple weeks off and then back under green again, and I'm sure you guys have to be pretty excited about that. Really, what's the mindset that you have going into season 2? Is it staying consistent? Is it, putting Robert Raider into the wall? Or is it, just maintain a top 5? What is kind of the game plan going into season 2?
Going into season 2, we're going to be switching over to the next gen cars, so it's a whole different animal, and it's going to be spending those 2 off weeks just getting more accustomed to that car and getting more comfortable in it. And the goal is just to be consistent, run top 5 in the next season. I know Rob's going to be competitive, Loveland's going to be competitive, so I expect to be battling those guys every week. Who knows? Might put Rob in the wall once or twice next season, depending, where we're at and what the circumstances are. But love racing with Rob, love racing with these guys. They're fun to race with. So definitely looking forward to it. But gonna probably take a couple days off just to get some rest in before we get back into practicing for next season.
All right. I definitely wish you luck on learning those next gens. I believe every update iRacing has, that is the first thing they do is change how the car is. So I don't know how much practice you'll be able to get with those cars. I could see you getting accustomed to maybe the size, but handling an engine power changes each update. So I wish you the best on that one, Mr. Earhart. But really fantastic job by you here tonight. Man, go ahead and give me those shout-outs here for the last time on Season 1.
I got a big shout out to you guys for stepping in when y'all did and the great production that y'all put on. We greatly appreciate having y'all on. Shout out to everybody in the league, all the friends and family back home watching, my parents, my grandparents, all those guys. My sponsors, the Earhart Group, for being on the car, and my favorite coffee, Black Rifle Coffee. Gotta give them a shout out, and appreciate everybody in the league for doing what they do, and looking forward to season 2.
Alrighty, and I hope the Earhart Group is able to sponsor a couple more races like they did this season. Hopefully they're able to chip in a little bit, and that kind of gets that little edge, especially at your favorite tracks. But Trevor, fantastic job tonight, bud, and I hope to see you next season.
Thank you, Patrick. Have a good one.
You too. Man, kind of that. There he is. Trevor Earhart there in that 13 machine. So the Earhart Group and Black Rifle Coffee, he was able to get that Ford around. So it is just so interesting to see, where these guys ended up and how it ended up finishing out here toward the end of the season. But I am actually going to pull our race winner in first. Let's go ahead and have a chat with James Loveland first. James Loveland, you got a copy?
I got you.
Oh, man. All right. That 02 Ford, you can go back and listen to the broadcast. I didn't count you out, but I had my doubts. You led the very beginning of the race, and Robert Rader, the two of you guys pulled away by over 2 seconds. He then ran you down and passed you, and then pulled away. Did the tires, was that the effect on that first stage? Is that kind of what the fall off was there right at the beginning?
Yeah, I think battling with him kind of killed our tires, and I don't know if I was just driving in too hard or throttling too much in the corners, but I overcooked the tires. I would think I was at 60% on the right front after the first run, and I had to back off a little and kind of play smart with my tires and managing, and it really didn't matter at the end, but I still had a solid run.
Yeah, and that you did as you come home with the win here at Phoenix, man. And so we kind of see that you had your teammate, you and Earhart, went ahead and decided to pit a little differently than everybody else. Obviously that worked out in your favor. What was kind of the idea? Were you kind of taking it easy and kind of running Robert Rader back down? Because you were kind of a little bit about in that fourth, fifth area and kind of having to, work through a little bit of traffic to run him back down. Were you a lot more conservative with the tires then?
Yeah, I was trying to be, and also I was trying to get track position to be up where he was so I could battle for the win, but I just kept getting stuck in that third, fourth area, and I was cooking up my tires, and he kept getting restarts and probably saving his tires, so I just kind of threw an audible out there and went into pit road, and my teammate went with me, and we worked together to get up there and steal the win from him. So,
yeah, fantastic job you had this year. Your consistency was very, very good. Unfortunately, not as good as Mr. Rader there, as I believe tonight may have sealed the win for him, which brings you as the runner-up. I asked Trevor Earhart the same question. What is your game plan going into Season 2? And I don't mean just win.
Well, I would like to win some races, but it's going to be a different game plan. The next-gen car, I've been running it in another league, and it's very difficult to drive compared to these Xfinity cars. So my goal is just to keep my consistency going, learn the car better, maybe run some extra practice, and try to go out there and win a championship this time and not just win races.
All right. I definitely hope to see that out of that machine here, and to see you going up next season. I think you'll have plenty of chances next season. I believe this season was only 12 races, and next time you guys have 23. That season runs all the way into February, so it's definitely a stacked deck for you guys. I know Kansas was a big no-no for some of you guys, especially with the overheating. Robert Rader kind of blew up on that track and had I think 3 cars ended up sending the engine to outer space. But, regardless, that one was dropped. I think you guys are doing a different Nashville there. Is there any track, on that schedule, if you've reviewed it, that you're kind of favoring to be the favorite on that one?
I haven't looked at it really, but definitely Dover is probably one of my favorite tracks. I do really well there. Chicagoland as well. That's another one of my good tracks. So I'll probably focus most on those ones. But I mean, we'll just see what happens. I mean, I've never run with any of these guys with the next gen, and I haven't run some of these tracks with the next gen, so it's just going to be a interesting season, but it's also going to be fun.
All right, so Chicagoland and Dover, looking at a quick look at that deal. Those are about 6 weeks apart with one off week in the middle of that. So, man, it's definitely going to be spread apart and definitely a stacked race. I figure you guys are doing recruitment races and rounding people up, so you may have some fresh faces to battle against out there. But James Loveland, great job tonight. Fantastic win here at Phoenix. Go ahead and give us some of those shout-outs, bud, and we'll let you get back to celebrating.
Yeah, shout out to you guys at the broadcast always, and shout out to the league for having us run a terrific season. That was fun. I really enjoyed it. And shout out to Robert Roeder on his championship. Well deserved. He really drove a solid season. I just couldn't get up to him there. And yeah, shout out to my team. We got 2 podium finishes, and yeah.
All right. Fantastic job there, James Loveland, and we hope to see you next season, bud.
All right, see you guys.
Take it easy. Man, Kynan, just a all-around guy. I know I'm having most of these, interviews with these guys, but it's really exciting, being able to get their last take here at the season finale. But we're going to give a quick cut here to some of our sponsors here, and we will go ahead and get Robert Rader, our second place finisher and the championship winner of this season. Alrighty, and we should have a quick check on here on Robert Rader. You got a copy on us here, bud?
I got you, Patrick.
All right, at 53 Chapman Ford. Talk to me. What happened here at the end of the race? We'll start from the end and work our way back to the front. What happened? When you were leading, and then all of a sudden it's just like the car just kind of quit on you. What? Talk me through it.
Well, it's one of those situations where, if you pit, then they all stay out. If you stay out, they all come and pit. And so you kind of just have to make your best guess about how the race is going to go and just take it from there. So the strategy was kind of Justice Murphy at Nashville Fairgrounds strategy, which worked out for him, which was, just don't pit because we keep wrecking. And then as soon as James and Trevor came down and took tires, then of course, we run green to the end of the race. So that strategy was never going to work once we went green to the finish, but killed the wall coming off of turn 2, just trying to desperately do anything I can to keep Loveland back, but there was nothing I could do there. He was going to win it either way at that point.
Yeah, Loveland did have a lot of speed there right toward the end, but you did have a lot of speed running with Loveland up in the first before the competition caution. You had a boatload of speed there, and then you actually, passed him and took off. And I kind of thought that's what we were going to see here. I mean, you guys were even on the tires, but I think that short pit did work for him. Yeah, I thought you may have stayed out front most of the race, but, you have 5 wins on the season. I knew there was no way, if anybody was going to let you have that 6th.
Yeah, I mean, you win 5 races in a 10-race season, and you can't be too upset about finishing second. Plus, I mean, James did have a ton of speed. We raced really good, really clean, and really hard there at the beginning of the race. It was a ton of fun. Some of the most fun that I've had all season long running with him there. And then after that, I mean, it seemed like it was just about managing the race. I felt pretty good about it. And then this all kind of fell apart. But, I mean, I'm happy with second because at least we got the championship, and that's what really matters, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, and really, I want to correct everybody. Is correct. There were 10 races. I thought there were 12, but there were 10. And next season, you're looking at 23. That is going to stretch, I wouldn't say the racers thin, but it's definitely going to stretch the points, hopefully out between a lot more drivers. You did pull away with this one as our championship winner here in the season 1. You placed second here tonight. You've won 5 races. I mean, I believe you even hold some of the records for a 21-second lead at Charlotte. I mean, that was insane, and it wasn't just the 5 races that you won, it was 5 races consecutive. So that also holds another record here at the Racing Revolution League. You know, going into season 2, you know, what's your mindset going into season 2? How are you going to approach that?
Win 6 races in a row. That's the goal. If we just extend the record. No, seriously though. I mean, 23 races, like you said, 16 regular season, and then 7 playoff races. We're gonna have multiple rounds. We're gonna have knockouts. We're gonna have winning your in. We're gonna have all the crazy stuff that NASCAR does. So it's gonna get wild. I mean, main goal is making it to the playoffs, which I feel pretty confident should be able to make that happen. But then, I mean, some of these rounds that we have are going to be really interesting. We've got some really cool races in there. We have in the first round of the playoffs, we got Michigan, Coda, Bristol. So Michigan, fine. Coda is a wild card. I mean, you know, never know what can happen there. And then Bristol, I mean, that's going to be an absolute brawl as a cutoff race. We've got Daytona as the regular season finale. So that's, I mean, that's going to be crazy. Guys trying to get in. Then you got Kentucky, Talladega, Darlington in the second round of the playoffs. And Kentucky's a really interesting track we haven't gone to in forever. You have Talladega, which, you know, it's Talladega, and then Darlington. Be a real test of everybody's skill there, and then back to Phoenix for the finale. So anything can happen in there. I feel like we're going to have 12 guys in the playoffs, and probably any 12 of those guys can, you know, find their way to the championship with the way the schedule's set up. So it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, and especially going to the next-gen cars. I believe you guys are also going 50% fuel as well on that?
Yeah, so 50% race length, 50% fuel. So it's basically everything's going to be half of what you would see in a standard Cup race. So the races will be slightly longer than they are now, just 'cause Cup race lengths are a little longer, but just a little bit. That'll really open up the strategy, you know, fuel strategy, tire strategy, you know, in these races too. So it's going to be very different than what we had this season. I don't have a lot of practice in the next gen car, or I should say Gen 7 car. I'm trying to stop saying next gen because we're more than halfway through the season. But anyway, Gen 7 car is totally different. I got a lot of practice to do in that thing, and I mean, there's some guys, you know, Grant, Justice, you know, some of those guys who have run a lot more in that car who I think are going to be super strong, especially at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and that is definitely going to be hard. I know I've talked to you a little bit about the Gen 7s there. With each update with iRacing, I mean, I swear the car handles a little bit different. The fall off is a lot different. I end up with more power at Atlanta, you know, and then my tires, I mean, absolutely fall off when I'm at Darlington. It's just, you know, it makes you want to pound your head off the dash, you know, what to do to get these cars around. So, you know, I hope that the updates don't make it worse here on iRacing. But regardless, you know, you guys put on a great show here. I know you guys raced very, very clean, but I think it was just because it was a finale race. Everybody wanted to get that last little bit in here at the season finale, trying to get this thing. How we ended up getting caught up in so many cautions right there at the end. I mean, you guys were perfect. I mean, perfect for the first stage, and then just nothing but cautions after that. Was it Phoenix? You know, a little bit of issue there. How did 6 cars end up in front of you where they could pit on a different lap and then end up in front without being a lap down?
Yeah, so that was partially my mistake actually, and I kind of screwed some other guys over because they kind of followed me into making that mistake. Because you know, with their comp cautions in this season, we're throwing them as soon as the leader finishes the lap at the line, and with where the start finish line is and where the pit road exit is and where the pace car is here, plus the 3-second lead or whatever I didn't slow down anywhere near fast enough to let the pace car by before pit road opened, and then I noticed way too late, and because I didn't pit, a lot of other people didn't notice the pit road was open, and then halfway back somebody noticed and everyone followed him. So if I would have just slowed down a lot faster, everyone probably would have been okay there. So kind of my fault.
That's right. Well, it is in the books. It is in the past now, but really to get this thing back underway, you know, you being season 1 champion, man, I think you may be able to get season 2. You just have that consistency, you know, other than Pocono, but you stuck around, you got it repaired, and then you got back out there, still got a top 10. And then I think the worst one was Kansas, and I think that was just a mechanical fault with a overheating engine that blew up not once but twice. So, really, go ahead. Is there anything else that you could tell our viewers out there or anybody else who's watching about Season 2?
One thing that came to mind is that we are going to have a stage in Season 2. It's going to pay out points instead of having these comp cautions, and that's going to make the early parts of these races really interesting too, so that's pretty cool. We also have butt kickers coming back for Season 2. Going to offer up a prize for us. We'll get more into prizes here closer to the beginning of the season, but they're coming back, so we really appreciate them coming back. Chapman's coming back, so excited about that. And we also have maybe a couple of new ones. We'll see where we end up there. We'll announce those when we're ready. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a really awesome and entertaining season as everybody acclimates and we figure out who's fast in this car. I've been driving the Xfinity car for quite a while on here, and I want to say I'm washed up on everything else, but it's going to definitely be a bit of learning. So we got 3 weeks, and I'm going to go practice as much as I can to get ready.
All right, and we'll kind of say goodbye to the Xfinities and back to the more futuristic cars, especially when you're having to deal with a 5-speed. I know a lot of shifting does end up a bit of trouble for that one, but Robert Rader, fantastic job. Congratulations on being the season champion. I know a lot of guys, Ted Rekich out there is saying that, Brady Beckham out there saying great job. I'm sure Sean Lattin, he knows how well you did all season. So, fantastic job, bud, and we hope to see you next season.
Thanks. Yeah, shout out to Brady. That's pretty cool. He must have seen you guys post on Facebook, so that's pretty cool. So, hi, Brady. Yeah, shout out to Sean. Shout out to my family. My daughter, Akimi, was watching this race tonight, and she kept running over. Upset that Loveland was faster than me. So, she was trying to keep me motivated. So shout out to all the people involved and everybody in this league too. I mean, it was something we put together pretty quick. We knew what we wanted and we knew what type of people we wanted in the league, and we just have an awesome core group of guys who are coming out and racing every week, and we'll just build from here, and it'll get better as time goes on. So just appreciate everybody involved, and appreciate you guys for the broadcast as well. You guys have jumped in and you've done an excellent job. Anytime that we've had something that we've wanted to tweak, you guys have been super fast to jump on it and everything else. You've just been super professional, and we appreciate it. And I think that's about it for Season 1, man. I'm going to go find a bottle of champagne somewhere and spray it around my house.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, go ahead and show that girl that, how you may not have been the fastest one tonight, but for the season you were. So, great job in that Chapman Environmental Services car. And, man, I'm chomping at the bit to see you next season, bud.
Absolutely. We'll see you in 3 weeks.
All right, man. All right, Kynan. That is Robert Rader, your Season 1 champion of the Racing Revolution League. Really, what a way to wrap this one up here, bud.
Yeah, even though he wasn't able to finish it off with a win, having gotten 5 wins in a row at the start of the season and then just was able to keep that consistency going, even though wasn't able to win, was still able to pick up the points where it mattered, and then was able to just clinch it out and never gave up, and because of that was able to take home Season 1 championship. So good work to him, but also good work to Loveland for giving him a good hard fight throughout the entire season, especially at the start of this race. Didn't let him just pull away and made things interesting, and Loveland ended up bringing out the victory tonight.
Yep, and what a fantastic way to end the season here. A little bit of a spoiler out there, Kynan, you may not know, bud, but I am going to go ahead and drop the ball also for all of our viewers out there. Sean Lattin, Stella Rose, Ted Rekich. Hey, guys, do not forget next season to go ahead and tune in to Racing Revolution. Unfortunately, 10-4 will not be re-signing back on with Racing Revolution. They will be with a new broadcast team. It will be with Simtrax Broadcasting. That's SIMTRAX Trax Broadcasting. You can find them online at simtraxbroadcasting.com. If you love my silky smooth voice, that is where I will be, and I will be excited to see you there. And then, man, I will be sponsoring at least 3 of their tracks, and I'm excited to see Robert Rader, Kevin Orlando, Nick Alves. Hopefully Ray Lane will show back up, and all the rest of the other guys that I am just too many of you guys to mention. And I'm excited to see that. And Kynan, I hope at some point maybe you'll join me, maybe not, as I know 10-4 also has a very, very booked up schedule for them as well. But we are going to go ahead and sign off here at 10-4 Broadcasting. Thank you again for joining us. 10-4 Broadcasting, sponsored by Admin Box, the one, the only one. Go ahead and check them out. Coupon code 10-4-box. That's with 2 X's. And we will see you next time. Thank you and have a good night.